Hi and welcome to the panel shows Play the Game. My name is Alira Cause and I'm going to be your host for today. I have three amazing guests joining me on the couch today. I have Timothy Tim Columbritta, I have Andrew Panetta, and I also have Mark Hinchelwood.
Hi, Alira.
Hi, how are you?
Good,
thank you
you
for joining us. Mark, you're
Yes.
a driver yourself.
Yes.
Now talk us through your career and what's brought you here today.
Yeah, sure. So I'm currently the driver for the AC Delco Pro Slammer drag racing team. So drag racing is a two-car race, two cars on the racetrack racing over a quarter of a mile, and we can reach speeds of up to 400 kilometres per hour in literally a matter of seconds. So they are a phenomenal thing to drive, and I've driven...
That's fast.
It is. I've been fortunate enough to be able to drive quite a few different vehicles in my time. I currently drive a winged 900 horsepower sprint car as well. And I can honestly say that these Pro Slammers are absolutely insane to drive. They are phenomenal. And a little bit like Tim was saying, you have to respond and react very, very quickly because it can get ugly real fast.
So I guess the name Mad Mark comes from you being a lunatic in the car, or where does that come from?
Yeah, so Dean Neal actually from Western Sydney Dragway, a commentator back in the day, coined the Mad Mark phrase, and it was from some fairly wild driver antics. Nothing out, too crazy, but yeah, it's kind of stuck. So I've got the Mad Mark persona and also the red cordial kid I'm kind of known as well with the sprint car. So yeah. Lovely.
So how did you actually get into racing? Like, was it something that was passed down through family, or was it just this burning desire to just drive fast cars?
My mum and dad as a kid had record shops. We had record and cassette shops, and they do not know where the racing bug or when it hit, but basically at the age of about 16 I was invited to go to my first drag race meeting at an all Holden day, and being a Holden guy, I went down and we actually we came runner-up in a particular bracket on the day, and we've been drag racing ever since. So I have done thousands and thousands of passes down the quarter mile in both sedans and then into an altered, which is a long skinny type vehicle with big parachutes, and then into funny cars, and then now into the AC Delco Pro Slammer.
So you've travelled quite a bit for your job with racing.
Yes,
where's it taken you?
I've been fortunate to actually race in a little bit in America. Most of my racing has been in Australia, with being a Kiwi background. I did a lot of racing in New Zealand as well, so it's been neat. I've raced for many different teams, but the current team with AC Delco and Holden, it's a corporate-backed team. Morris Fabietti, the team principal and car owner, has been phenomenal. On a bad note, I had a little accident a couple of years ago, and as a result, wasn't quite sure where my driving was going to go after that accident. Thankfully, Fab saw something in me and picked up the phone and made the call, and it's been a really cool ride ever since.
We've actually got some footage of you in your car, so let's take a look.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so
So Mark, you just touched on that you had an accident. Can you talk us through what actually happened on that day?
Yeah. So basically I was driving for another team. It was an alcohol funny car team. The date was August 9th, 2015. It's one of those days that I will never forget, and birth dates, you remember those sort of dates. August 9th, 2015, we were running the alcohol funny car. The engine, we had a mechanical failure. As a result of the mechanical failure, my legs were on fire in the car. I couldn't breathe. I was doing approximately about 100 kilometres per hour when I decided my shutdown procedures, things were getting ugly real quick, and I decided to jump out of the car. So I actually had already deployed the parachutes. I opened the escape hatch out of the funny car roof and actually jumped, hit the tarmac at about, they say somewhere between 70 to 100 k's an hour. The impact actually stripped my shoes clean off my feet, and it was almost like someone had placed them on the racetrack. That wasn't too big a deal because you're in some fairly good safety gear. You're in a Dash 25 suit, multi-layer, 5-layer suit and helmet and everything. The big problem was as the car actually came past me, it actually scooped me up inside the parachutes, broke my neck and tore this arm, actually dislocated this arm, and I went for a ride. So my claim to fame is I'm the only person I believe in the world that's actually gone through the finish line, actually encapsulated inside the parachutes of a race car. So the parachutes eventually spilled me out, and I knew straight away that it was not good. I had double vision, and I can remember laying there and I was conscious the whole time, talked through the paramedics that were there, chopper landed, and I said to them, my first response was, can I wiggle my toes? I need to know, where we're at here. I need to know, what's going on. And they said, yeah, you can wiggle your toes. And I couldn't quite feel this arm was starting to shut down. And yeah, a bit of a nasty time. But we've come back, fairly big rehab, and 76 days in a halo brace to support my neck and get that all going back together. And as a result, wrote an amazing blog which helps others now, and I've had doctors contact me from around the world that have read the Mark versus Halo blog, and which has been really nice. It's really nice when you can turn a really shitty situation into a bit of a positive.
And I guess it's quite therapeutic for you as well to debrief on what has happened and put it pen to paper, because it may resonate with someone else.
Absolutely.
And that's super important.
Absolutely. I'm not one who's ever suffered from depression, but I certainly went through a bout of depression, and being able to go through it and come out the other side and try and help people and talk to people. And I've been chatting on Facebook Messenger over the years from different people that have had accidents or have been fitted with a halo brace, form of torture that no one should ever have to be fitted with. And it's been really nice to try and help them and help them learn how to deal with what they've, the hardware that they've been fitted with.
Yeah, it's nice that you've got that platform that someone can reach out to you if they're going through that, and you can actually resonate with them that I know what you're feeling, because it's easy for us to say I know how you feel, but you can actually relate to that.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's really
definitely
important. So with your rehabilitation, what was your process?
Yeah, so I'm a numbers kind of guy, so I break everything down into modules. So the first module was the halo brace. Isn't actually going to repair my neck? Am I going to come out of that okay? Because they weren't really sure if they were going to have to fuse my neck and how my eye, because I had bad double vision, was going to respond to the treatment with the halo brace. We came out of the halo brace healed, so that was module 1 done, 3 months, boom. So then I go, right, next 3 months, what do I need to do? Eyes, got to get my eyes sorted. So I still had the double vision. They weren't really sure how to deal with that. They weren't quite sure how to actually approach the rehab. They basically sent me on my way and come back in another 3 months and see how you're going. I'm a mountain biker. I do a lot of mountain biking, a lot of road bike riding. I ride to and from work. Every weekend I'm out with my kids. So to me it was a natural, I got to get on my bike, I just got to ride. So the very first time I actually rode my mountain bike was actually from work to home. I can remember my wife actually standing on the doorstep and greeting me with anticipation. Oh, he's coming home, please be careful. And there I am with an eye patch on. I couldn't even put my arm on the handlebar to ride. But the really weird thing was, from the moment I got home, I just felt that it was doing something good on my shoulder and for my eyesight. And over the period of those next few months, I just rode and I rode and I rode. And in my bio, I actually say I was the Forrest Gump of bike riding. 1 month I rode 1,600 kilometres on a mountain bike. And I ended up hooking up with some bunch of guys, and we rode from Cairns to the tip of Australia on an epic mountain bike adventure, which is one of the greatest things I've ever done. It was phenomenal.
Really inspiring story there.
Yeah, thank you.
It really is. It makes the rest of us feel extremely lucky to be alive when you've been through something like that.
like anything, Hilera, you've got to surround yourself with good people. You've got to, you've got to eat well. You've got to have a positive attitude. I can remember one of the times my son, I was sitting there moping and sulking, and he said, "Dad, do you want to play a game of cards?" And I went, "Luke, I just want to sit here and sulk." And he said, "You're a Hinchelwood. You don't sulk." And far out. That just, it chokes me up now. But you need people like that. A 7-year-old kid to say something like that to go, you know what? You're right. I'm not going to freaking sit there and sulk. I'm going to get off my butt and do something about it. So it's neat.
So Mark, before the break, we spoke about your accident. You're in a halo race. Have you ever considered writing a book to tell your story?
My blog, which I think went past 20,000 words, my wife actually, I think it was 12 months out post-halo accident or post-injury, she actually presented it to me actually in a book type form, and I actually have that in my office as a daily reminder, that sometimes when you live in a big life, big stuff happens. And I actually even still have my halo actually on a mannequin's head. It sounds kind of a bit out there, but it's in my office as well. And again, daily reminder, just stuff happens.
Yeah, then you can look at where you've been and where you're going based on looking at that, and you can remember the hard times and realise in the good times, but never forget those either.
Absolutely, yeah. Once again, turning a bad thing into a positive. I met some really fantastic people as a result of the accident. One quick little story that I'm reminded of is a guy befriended me who had a very serious motor accident, and he was pretty banged up, and he just dropped me a PM just to see how I was. He had also gone through depression, so that was really neat. And he told me about during his rehab that he was actually taught to draw and use colours to show emotion. And believe it or not, a few months after the actual injury, my wife and daughter were having a bit of a disagreement, and I sent my wife for a bit of a walk, and I said to my daughter, "Just draw me a picture, would you please? I just want you to draw a picture and show colour for emotion, and just see how it comes out." So she draws this beautiful picture of this. It was a self-portrait, and she uses tears, and actually writes a girl's name, actually in the tears, because she was being bullied. And sorry, but from that accident, being befriended by somebody on Facebook and learning that particular trick, or not trick, but something to do, has really helped me engage with my daughter, and we learned something, and it was just phenomenal that that's how deep it goes.
Life works in mysterious ways, and that synchronicity between events, even though it may not be an amazing event, it can be quite traumatic. It ends up leading us onto paths and people that end up helping us.
Absolutely, yeah.
I know many people that I cross paths with, they believe that everything happens for a reason,
yes.
good or bad.
Yes.
And it's how you perceive it as well.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing that with us.
No problem at all.
Really
Thank you, Larry.
Even though you're sitting down, it is quite a physical sport within itself. You do expend a lot of energy, you sweat a lot. Is there any protocols that you guys do with training?
Certainly. I do a lot of mountain biking, and with the pro slammer, with the drag racing that I do, you would think that you would not have to be particularly fit, but I can tell you can actually sit in that car pre-race, cool and calm as a cucumber, and in 6 seconds be completely out of breath like you've run a marathon. And I don't know in any other type of racing that I've done where I've actually experienced that sort of adrenaline rush that you do with in a drag race. So
I was going to say, do you get that adrenal dump and then you feel super fatigued later on like you've run a marathon?
Absolutely. I can kind of see now why race car drivers typically, when they get out of a race car, they'll typically go into their race trailer and just calm down for a little bit and just try and bring those energy levels back down, because the rush is pretty severe, isn't it? I've got a little bit of a funny one. I typically get a haircut pre-race, believe it or not.
Wow.
It's, and I get teased at my place of business about
there's a
it
helmet
quite
on.
regularly. No, it's just a thing. It just seems that it's always haircut time just before a race, and I get teased at my business quite regularly about, obviously there's a race coming up, you've had a haircut. So it's haircut time for me. That's pretty much it.
Okay, and any, I guess, advice for any young viewer that is watching, or any middle-aged or elderly viewer that's watching, and they want to get into racing, Olympic lifting, where would be the first point of call that you'd tell them to start?
You know, depending on what type of genre you want to get hooked into, you just got to get out there. Motor racing is it's a sensory thing. It's the vibration. Certainly drag racing. You know, there's two cars on the track, so from a visual point of view, it's phenomenal. You've got two cars, big screen telly, they zoom wide in. It's also one of the very few motorsports where public can actually go down into the pits. So you can actually walk around a drag race event and get right up close to top fuel cars pulling their engines down. Pro Slammers actually working on the cars. We actually invite people into our pit area and actually put them inside the car, and we'll take photos and we'll try and sell a little bit of merchandise and talk to them about it. And so very much just get out there and have a go.
Just give it a red hot
and
crack.
ask. And it's not hard if you want to get involved. Maybe you want to be a crew member. Maybe you want to be a sponsor. Maybe you've got a successful business and you want to have your name on the side of the AC Dalco Pro Slammer. There's a good idea. Just come down and ask and hang out with us because we're all human. Have a go, I think.
So Mark, I was hearing before there's a new car on the block. Tell us about that.
Yes. It's been kept a fairly big secret, but it's about to become a reality. Summonats 32, we're actually taking two AC Dalco Pro Slammers down to Canberra. We'll be unveiling the brand new car. It's lighter, leaner, sleeker, hopefully it's going to be a lot faster, and it will give us the edge to hopefully run at the pointy end of the field, which you've really got to be at your best game to be able to run at the front end. The current AC Dalco Pro Slam is actually fitted with a passenger seat, and we actually offer through the Holden Trade Club, and part of the Summonats promotion is actually we're offering 6 ride days, and we actually completely look after you from the moment you turn up. We feed you, we hydrate you, and we get you strapped into a 3,000 horsepower 5-second slammer, and we take you for the ride of your life. It's pretty cool.
Both hands are up. I will be the victim. I would love to do that.
Yeah, it's a neat deal.
That would be amazing.
Some questions about the car, like how much does the car weigh?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so to build a top alcohol door slammer, you've basically got about 100 metres of chromoly tubing go into it. There's about 120 individual bars to actually build that car. There is a minimum weight of about 2,700 pounds on that vehicle. 3,000 horsepower. We consume 20 litres of fuel in a pass. So imagine a 20 litre bottle of water, and that's gone in 5.7 seconds. So they're pretty phenomenal. Thirsty beasts. They're not the sort of thing you want to drive down the local shops. They're actually quite easy to drive at low speed, and when you nail that throttle, they are just an absolute beast of a thing to try and drive.
So the maintenance on something like that, I could imagine, would just be phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll turn up in a semi or a B double. Some of the race teams have, truck and trailer. We'll typically carry a spare motor, and it's not uncommon for race teams to actually pull the entire engine out between rounds and actually swap a motor over. It's fairly common. The clutch will come out of the car fairly regularly. Gearbox will be removed after most passes. So if you can imagine, to give you an idea, a set of pistons and conrods, you know what a piston and conrod is in an engine, they cost our slammer team about $5,000 to $5,500 for a set of 8 pistons and conrods. We do 20 passes with those pistons and conrods, and then we pull them out and sell them. So those pistons and conrods have been in racing conditions for under 1 minute. They owe the team about $550 each combo, and we actually sell them at the racetrack to give something back to the fans for $120. It's kind of neat.
How much does it cost to run a car like that, build a car like that?
Larry, that is a really good question.
Intrigued.
Every single time the car goes down the track, so 5.8 seconds, 6 seconds, $3,000. $3,000 a pass. And remember, we offer the ride day. That car is race ready in full race trim, and it's a full power pass to half track. We are limited to an ET of 7.5 seconds. We can't exceed that, but we'll be doing nearly 170, 175 miles an hour at half track before we actually deploy the parachute. So the ride days, if you can get into the competition, folks, go to the Holden Trade Club and actually check us out, Power and the Passion, Summonats 32, big promotion. Get your entry forms in because there are 6 rides that are going to become available. it's really neat.
Amazing, amazing. I really look forward to watching what you guys are going to do within 2019. Thank you so much for joining us on the panel show today. And I hope the guests have enjoyed us. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.